Giannis downhill, slams it home. Pressure again, and a sack for Aaron Donald. A coronation is complete. All hail King Canelo. That Mahomes who tiptoes inside the 10, still knocks out. Oh, what a run!
Welcome back to the Game Changer Show, live on the Right Way Sports Network. I'm your host, Aiden Mayer. Today we got Tyler, Ethan, and Daniel in the building. Tons of NFL to talk about as we creep closer to NFL season. A little bit of MLB as well with the trade deadline passing. But before we get into all of that, make sure you guys go subscribe to our Patreon page. I think every week for a reason. We are making people a ton of money over there. The
we're
link is
hot
in the
right
description.
now.
We have plays every single
Very
day.
hot.
God, we can all attest to it. Money in the
We're
bank.
killing
It's
the game
free
right
dough.
now.
Really, our
Free
team
money.
does a fantastic job. I wouldn't be vouching for it this hard if I didn't want you guys to go make some money. And I wasn't so confident in our Patreon page because I really am. But yeah, where do we start today? We're starting off, again, as I said, a lot of NFL. And we're starting off with the San Francisco 49ers. I remember I sent out a tweet the other day, talking about this NFC playoff picture and how I was a little skeptical of the Niners, and a lot of people were mad at me for that comment. But Ethan, I'll start the show off with you. Do you think the 49ers will make the playoffs this year?
I think it's going to be close. I think they're one of those teams that's right there on the fringe of making the playoffs. To me, they're a lot similar to the Broncos. The Broncos and the 49ers are both pretty fairly good teams, but they both play in tough divisions where you can make the argument that both of those teams are the third best teams in their respective divisions. I think the Rams are for sure better, and I can make an argument that the Cardinals are better than the 49ers.
Stop it, Ethan.
No, I'm serious. I mean,
Stop.
what are we talking about? We saw the Cardinals last year. Obviously, late in the season they went on it didn't look too good for them, but they started off 10-0. Okay, obviously what the Cardinals, with their suspensions and injuries and all that stuff, it might not be this year. But I see the 49ers as about an 8-win team. I think give Trey Lance, if Trey Lance is going to be the starting quarterback, give him a few years in his offense to really get things going and build chemistry. I don't see it this year, but maybe in the future.
Nope.
Not this year,
Nope.
though.
I agree with Ethan.
Ethan,
listen.
Hold on,
listen.
Tyler. Hold on.
Whoa, all right. Well,
Hold
Tyler
on.
agrees with Ethan. Let's let Daniel rebuttal, and then I'll go to you.
Ethan, I love you, man. We hung out the other week, in Cincinnati. We had a great time. But Listen, I just disagree with a couple things you said. You said, it's going to take a couple years. I disagree with that. And the reason why I disagree with that is because of the situation around them, right? Kyle Shanahan, offensive mastermind. Look at their team, right? Top 5 offensive line. Trent Williams came in there last year, absolutely dominated there. And look at the weapons around him. Brandon Ayuk, I think, is going to have a huge step-up year this year. Deebo Samuel, they re-signed him. Still have George Kittle. And you have one of the best running systems in the entire league, right? Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon. They added a rookie. This system is something where you don't need star running backs. It's all about the system. They're a run-heavy team. And I think, Trey Lance, if he's able to limit his mistakes and not, go out there and throw a ton of interceptions, this team has the situation around them to make the playoffs. So if Trey Lance can be that, game managing type quarterback and just basically not force mistakes, his defense is good enough to carry them to, a playoffs, especially in a weak NFC. So I look at their schedule, their first 6 games are pretty cupcake. I see the situation, and if Trey Lance can step in and be decent, this team is a playoff team this year.
All right, well, I'll agree with Daniel that this situation is very good. But when you look at the division and you see that they have to compete with the Rams and the Cardinals, and then you look and you see that this is going to be Trey Lance's full first year under the helm, Kyle Shanahan's a great coach. I think he could get something out of Trey Lance. But in my mind, Trey Lance is not him. Trey Lance isn't going to be a good quarterback. That's going to be my one of my bold takes today. I just don't see.
A bold take.
There you go, Ethan. I don't see a reality where you have to compete with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, and you have to compete with the Rams who just won a Super Bowl, and you have a rookie QB that's going to have to take you there. I just don't see any reality where they're going to make the playoffs this year, jockeying against those two teams with Trey Lance under center, who I don't think is going to be very good.
So, Tyler, first off, I think that this is one of. I mean, they're still a tough division, but the Seahawks. That's 2 wins. The Seahawks.
Oh yeah,
Aren't
that's 2 free wins for
that's
every
2
single
wins.
team in that
And
decision.
I'm sorry, the Cardinals are good. I just don't think that the Cardinals are good enough to sweep this 49ers team. If they can split, that's all they have to do, right? A split with the rest of the schedule. They play the Bears. They play some other bad teams on their schedule. A split is good enough. And this Cardinals team, yes, they have Kyler Murray, but we've seen them struggle a lot. We talked about this on, I think, last week's show.
We
They're
did.
good. They have their spurts, but they're not consistent. So,
I
and
think they're consistent this year.
I'm gonna go to your point. You said Trey Lance isn't gonna be a good quarterback. I disagree, and I don't know how you can say that, right? You can't say, oh, he's gonna be a terrible quarterback. For what? What is he
Well,
showing?
how can we say he's a good one yet either?
So,
Not
hold on,
saying
hold
he's
on.
Yeah,
a great
exactly.
one.
I'm gonna get there.
Okay.
So he's played a couple games in the NFL. He hasn't shown the ability to be a terrible quarterback. And to your point, Aiden, how can he be a good one? The situation is everything there, right? All they have to do is play run first style. And what does Trey Lance do? Trey Lance is also an excellent runner. So if they can tap into that, they can run with their front seven, excellent front seven. Fred Warner, Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa. They can rely on that front seven of their defense. They added a couple cornerbacks. Their secondary isn't great, but they can rely on the front seven and that run game. And we've seen many times in the NFL, the Titans did it, the Ravens have done it. That can lead to playoffs. Can't lead to playoff success, but that can lead to the playoffs. So that's the only thing I disagree with you, Tyler. I don't think that you can say year 1 or year 2 for Trey Lance that he can't be good. I think the situation is good enough for them to make the playoffs.
I'd say it's good enough for them to make the playoffs. But again, like the way I see it is you see the division they're in. I think the Cardinals are going to be a very good team this year. That's my personal take on it. I think if Kyler Murray and that offense can find some consistency this year, considering the weapons around them, then the 49ers aren't going to make it.
Yeah, but you said you
guys,
can see the 49ers make the playoffs. So you can see them making the playoffs. So Aiden, I'm curious to hear what your side of this is.
Absolutely. I don't have a problem with saying they're going to be a 7 seed. Again, I don't want to get too caught up on Cardinals 49ers because that might not even damn matter. Like, we look at the wild card teams, I think it's going to be the Packers, the Saints. Well, first of all, out of the wild card teams, you're going to have the Vikings or the Packers taking up the 5 seed, and then the Saints are going to take the 6 seed. There's a world where the Cowboys grab the 7 seed or the Eagles, and the 49ers and Cardinals both missed the playoffs anyway. Here's an interesting stat, some food for thought for you. I went back and looked at it because natural regression in the NFL, the landscape changes on a year-to-year basis. In 2021, when we look back, since 2016, I should say, we look back at the previous year. Out of the 4 teams that made the conference championship, the next year we typically see at least one of those teams then fall out of the playoff picture. Wasn't the case in 2021 because we had 4 top-end elite teams, which hardly ever happens, led by 4 of the best quarterbacks with the Chiefs, Packers, Bucks, and the Bills. But in 2020, we saw a team fall out of the playoff picture. That was the 49ers after going 13-3 the year before. In 2019, it was the same thing. In 2018, playoff picture. In 2017, we saw the Packers fall out of the playoff picture. Granted, that was due to Aaron Rodgers' injury. And then in 2016, we saw 3 teams that in the previous year made the conference championship. 2 of them made the Super Bowl, and the Panthers and the Broncos end up falling out of the playoff picture next year. And I look at the 4 teams that made the conference championship this past season. The Rams, they're going to win their division. They're safe. The Bengals are going to win their division. It's tough to the Chiefs and the Niners. And if I'm betting on one of those teams to make the playoffs, I'm betting on the Chiefs. I'm betting on the team with the far better quarterback, the better head coach, the far better offensive line. And this isn't something to live and die by. It's just food for thought. But I will say there are concerns with this Niners team between an unknown quarterback, question marks on the interior offensive line, a poor secondary, and Deebo Samuel, who was effectively the heart and soul of this offense last year. He's got an injury history. A lot of these players have an injury history. And is Deebo going to remain as probably the most hyper-efficient skill position player in the NFL? I don't have a problem with saying they're going to be the 7th seed, but I'm not going to jump the gun on this team, although I love their future.
Let's not forget also
explain
they play the AFC West. So that's a tough division they have to play. They have to go to Denver. They play Kansas City. They play the Chargers. Obviously, they play their division. They got a pretty tough schedule this year too. So I don't think
it's a tough schedule and stretches, but they also have easy games. And like
Aiden,
you explained it good. I appreciate that. I just can't sell everything on that trend, right? I can't.
Yeah, just food for thought.
So I appreciate that, and like you said, I look at it right. The Saints, the Vikings, the Cowboys. There is no world where I see the 49ers can't compete with those teams. So I look at that. I think they're firmly in the race, and I look at their division, and I don't see a team besides the Rams that can dominate them. I can see a world where this 49ers team, can win in the trenches against the Cardinals and sweep the Cardinals. So I think if anything, this team is leaning towards a playoff berth, even if it's a 7th seed versus, we saw last year, they were right on the cusp of making the playoffs, and Jimmy Garoppolo went in, to the Rams Stadium and won that game. So
Yeah.
I see this team, they got better and they didn't get worse. And this entire conference, I feel like, has gotten worse. The Packers got worse. I don't think the Cowboys will make the playoffs this year. That's one of my bold predictions we'll get to. But I think this team is leaning towards the playoffs, and I don't think that's hard to see.
I mean, yeah, I can see that. I mean, but in the grand scheme of things, what we're asking is, will they make the playoffs? I'm not going to walk a tightrope around it. Sure, I can see a scenario in which they make it, but if I'm giving a definitive answer, which I think I want to, no.
Yeah.
Not this year.
Tyler. I agree.
I see Jameis Winston. I see Dak Prescott and these Cowboys, and I'd rather trust this 49ers team. I'd rather trust a front seven that's still dominant. I'd rather trust a head coach that's made it to, the playoffs
fair.
year after year. And I'd rather trust this
All fair
offense
takes.
as a whole. So, Jameis Winston, the Cowboys, I'm not betting on them.
I'd bet on the Saints over the Niners, but that's my personal take. We're moving on now. We're moving on to talk about Tyler's Jets. This is a rare. We usually only talk about the Jets during off
draft
season, maybe draft time, because they're consistently in the top 5. And that's when Tyler. That's like the Jets Super Bowl, right? But no, we're talking a little bit about the Jets as a potential breakout because they do have the second-year quarterback, second-year coaching staff, a lot of good additions over the offseason. So, Tyler, is this Jets team poised for a breakout season in 2022?
If you followed my Twitter, you'd see, yes, they are. So, the way I see it with the Jets, you're coming in with a second-year QB, Zach Wilson, who in his last 6 games last year after coming back from injury looked way better than the first half of the season. He's had...
The first half was pretty rough.
The first half was really rough.
Can't get much worse than the first half.
Exactly. I thought he looked good in the last 6 games of the season, honestly, especially for a rookie QB. He's been working all summer. I'm excited. I'm going to a few of the training camp practices. I'm excited to watch him throw live before the season starts. In my mind, he's going to take a leap up, and that's not only because I think his skill is improved and I think he has the tools to be a good quarterback in the NFL, but because of now the situation around him, as Daniel was alluding to with the 49ers. So you have Elijah Moore. Now you have Garrett Wilson. Corey Davis is a wide receiver number 3 now, alongside with Braxton Berrios, who can play in the slot, and Denzel Mims, who's looked good in camp so far. But it's training camp. You can't exactly put too much stock into it. They vastly upgraded the tight end room. They brought in former Bengals tight end CJ Uzomah. They brought in Tyler Conklin. They drafted Jeremy Ruckert. I mean, those are 3 tight ends that they can make an impact. Conklin and Uzomah aren't in there at the top of their game in my mind anymore, specifically Conklin. But I think they still can make an impact. I think Ruckert could be very good as a rookie in that tight end slot. The O-line has been improved. They went out, they got Laken Tomlinson. Elijah Vera-Tucker had a good year last year as a rookie. I think he's going to be even better this year. If Mekhi Becton can get healthy and get it together, which hasn't been going well. He's down again, another injury favoring that right surgically repaired knee today. Again, that offense, when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, every single position group was improved this offseason. You go to the defense, they went out, they got Sauce Gardner, and they got DJ Reed, which are 2 highly effective cornerbacks. I think
Tyler, do you mind if I'm going to stop? All right. The grand scheme of things, they improved this roster, right?
Yeah,
That's the grand scheme. But what I need to ask you now, because the improvements are cool, they're nice.
Oh, yeah.
But are they better than any single one of these teams in the AFC East? We don't even need to debate them. But the Patriots and the Dolphins, are they even better than either one of these 2 teams? If so, why?
Yes, I do think so. You want to know why?
Which one?
Both teams. You think they're the second best team in the
Both
AFC East?
teams. My
I'd love to hear
prediction
why.
is that the Patriots are going to finish last in the AFC East this year.
That's a fair prediction. I like that.
So the way I see it, I think the Jets are better than both teams because you don't know what you're getting with them. For me personally, listen, yeah, Larry pointed out that Carl Lawson.
Wow, Carl Lawson.
Sure.
Wow. Wow.
What do you mean you don't know what you're getting for the Patriots and the Dolphins? The Jets have
No. I'm talking about the Jets. A lot of people, the general consensus this year is that you don't know what you're getting with this team, which is the truth. This is a lot of very young players playing on a coaching staff that's now in their second year there. In my mind, I think it takes a jump up from everybody on this roster, but I think they're going to get that, and that's why. When you look at it, the Dolphins have a better wide receiver group. So you have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, but you also have Tua under center, who is, again, not a very good quarterback. I think Zach Wilson's going to be better than Tua is this year. And the defense. Close. So the Jets' defense has always been decent, has always been way better than the offense. The defense back in the day was what would get them to, like when they were challenging, when Mark Sanchez was under center, it was always the defense. I think the defense this year has very good potential. When you look at the secondary, especially, I think the secondary is going to be one of the best in the league. And that's going to be my selling point.
So let me jump in here. First off, Tyler, everything you said, that it's cute. It's cute. And you're right, man. Like, they improved. Cool. Garrett Wilson, I talked to him at the combine, saw him at the draft. He's good. You know, you adding Brees Hall, good. Zach Wilson in his second year, good. When it actually boils down to it, it's just not their year. And when we talk about breakout, they won 4 games, 5 games. Sure, they can win 6. Give them 6, give them 7. But when we're talking about playoffs, Tyler, come on, man. You're smarter than this. You're better than this, man. Like, let's actually break it down. The division, AFC South, that's 1. The Bills are better than the Jets.
AFC
That's 2. Hold on, that's 2. Let's talk about it. The Chargers are better, the Chiefs are better, and the Broncos are better. That's 5. All those are definitive. The Broncos are better than the Jets. I think the Raiders are better than them as well, but we can even hold off on that. Let's not say them. Let's say the Bengals, they are definitively better than the Jets, and the Ravens. If the Ravens, I think they play them this year. They play them week 1, actually.
Week 1.
The Ravens are going to slaughter the Jets. Mark it down right now. That is going to be a 14-point win. So when I look at those 7 teams and even count the Raiders, name me 2 of those teams I just listed that the Jets can be better than. I think this is the year that the Jets, make the improvements, but it doesn't show on the record. I think because, Garrett Wilson needs another year. Offensive line's good, but it's not great. Tell me they're going up against Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack.
Nothing about their offense is great.
Are they stopping them? No. So, Tyler, I get what you're saying. They are improved. They will win 1 or 2 more games than they did last year, but playoffs, hell no.
I don't care.
Hell no. Hell no.
I don't know.
And Tyler, playoffs are breakout. That's what a breakout team is. A breakout team isn't 2
with
or
keynotes
better. Playoffs, and they're not making the playoffs this year.
I think they're going to win 8 games this year, and I think they're going to be on the verge.
That's cool. They can win 8.
That's
That's
not
not playoffs. That's not playoffs.
I think they're a lock for 8 games. I think they could win more, and I think they could be knocking on the door. Listen. We said today we wanted a lot of bold predictions on here.
Ethan, grab that backpack. Ethan, grab that backpack. Grab that backpack.
Don't grab the backpack.
Grab that backpack. No, Tyler, listen. You are right, man. They are going to be improved. But tell me with the straight face that this team is going to win 10 games. What world? Where? How do they make that improvement? The defense is good. It's average, right? I went on the show the other day. CJ Mosley, Quincy Williams, amazing linebackers. But we're talking playoff. Sauce Gardner as a rookie. They have Bryce Hall as a slot corner going up against, the Chiefs, going up against the Chargers, going up against the Bengals. Who's stopping Jamar Chase? Who's stopping Lamar Jackson? The Jets aren't. I'm sorry.
Sauce locking them up.
I'm sorry.
Sauce is one corner.
No,
this is why
he's
teams
crazy right now.
don't. And we talked about. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say this. Tyler, I liked what you said about the Jets secondary. I agree with you there. I think there's.
We appreciate the comments too, everybody. If you are commenting, please drop in your bold predictions. Drop in your takes. Yeah. We are responding to your comments, please. Ethan, keep going.
Someone back me up. Come on.
The secondary is
the only Jets fan here.
Right. Sauce Gardner, Reed. It's gonna be a good secondary. Here's my problem with the Jets defense: is their running game. Their run defense is, in my opinion, will be probably in the bottom. Probably might be one of the worst run defenses in the league. And that's not something you want on your NFL defense. You saw the Chargers were one of the best teams last year. could have had huge potential, but they had one of the worst run defense in the league, which cost them plenty of games. I think Zach Wilson will improve this year. Will he have? I don't think, like I said, that first half of the season last year was pretty damn bad. It was pretty damn bad how Zach Wilson looked. I think he'll improve a little bit. Obviously, he's got his full off season through training camps. He's going to improve, but it's just the Jets. It's too tough a division. I think the Patriots and the Dolphins are both better. I think it's close with the Patriots, but I think the Dolphins are by far a better team. Like Daniel said, there's plenty of teams in the AFC who are better. It's a tough AFC. It's going to be tough for the Jets. I like what you're saying, though. I like how there's good points that you brought up, Tyler, about the Jets.
There's hope. There's enthusiasm.
There's hope.
There's a light for the first time in a long time.
Thank you. Hold on, Ethan, Aiden, because that's it. There is hope. It's the off season, though. There's hope.
Maybe I'm getting the fandom a little too in my eyes. This is the first time my eyes have lit up at a Jets roster
I'm getting
in
tired.
years.
Oh, man.
All right, yeah, I'll agree. Maybe, definitely. All right, I'm not even going to say maybe. They're not making the playoffs this year. I think they're going to win 8 games.
Thank you. You came to your senses, Tyler. You came to your senses. Wait, hold on. Question.
I do, however, I will say, you were saying Sauce Gardner is a rookie. I almost guarantee that the defensive player of the year or defensive rookie of the year this year is coming from New York, whether it's going to be Sauce or Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah. Tyler, answer the question. What do you think
Wilson's ceiling? I think if last year, one thing I really liked from Zach Wilson was his ability to adjust to plays as they were happening. His O-line was very depleted at times. Especially those last 6 great games, the way he adjusted to the pocket collapsing, the way he was reading lines better. I think that Zach Wilson at his best will be a top 10 quarterback in the league. We're about being bold today. I really think he's.
I don't know if he'll hit it.
He has the upside and the tools. Will he reach it? That's up to him. The Jets have been notoriously good at ruining quarterbacks, but I think that if he can put his tools together, I think he's mobile. He does well in the pocket. He's got an arm. He can be a smart player. He showed that. He made a lot of dumb mistakes in the first half of last season. He really cleaned it up in the last half. I think that he has the tools to do it, to be a top 10 quarterback in this league in his prime. How long that prime will be, I couldn't tell you, but
the last thing I will say about this is I think the Jets are doing a good job and a better job of surrounding him with talent. This offseason, it was a step.
Awesome.
It was a step. So I think a lot of it with quarterbacks, it depends on situation. Their situation is getting better. We need to see Zach Wilson take that step this year. And then I think next year's the year, playoffs. Next year's the year, go out and get a star receiver. Go out and get a star edge rusher. Go out. That's when you acquire the stars. But fringe top 10, I think that's fair.
And I will say this: I don't trust the head coach. I don't trust Saleh.
Saleh, you don't like Saleh?
I don't trust him. Defensive minded, and in today's NFL, everything's super offensive minded, super high paced offense. I don't know. I think he's a great rah guy. I think he's a great locker room guy. Get the team fired up, get the team pumped up. When it comes to X's and O's though on the field, I don't know. Maybe I gotta see more this year. Maybe he'll surprise me, but.
I do agree with you, honestly. I think Saleh's going to be the guy that changes the culture around in the locker room, but I don't think he's going to be the guy that puts them over the hump.
Yep.
I think New York will be a good playoff team and a very good team in the upcoming years, but I don't think it's going to be Saleh. It's going to be behind the helm.
Yeah.
All right. That does it for our Jets talk. Kyle, you get your 10 minutes of fame with the New York Jets. We won't talk about them ever. No, I'm just kidding. If they do break out,
I could talk about this team all day. I was going off on a little tangent. I'm glad you stopped me.
Yeah, I know you were going through their entire defense. I was like, Tyler, what are you doing? I was like,
he knows all 53 players on the roster. No.
Oh yeah.
But our next topic is which quarterback is under the most pressure this season? I'm just gonna go ahead and start this one. My compass. I was doing some calculations. I held my compass up to the sky, and I was telling me, lead me to the quarterback under the most pressure. And I stayed in the AFC East. My compass actually went south, down to Miami.
It's on my list.
Wow.
Tua Tagovailoa just kept ringing a bell. That's just coming across. You still have this Alabama pedigree, the top 5 pick, picked one selection ahead of Justin Herbert. And a lot of people are still believers. So, there's still a chance here with Tua. There's a lot of excuse to be made for his first 2 years where he was pretty poor in terms of play, recovering from injury. He had a head coach that was benching him for Ryan Fitzpatrick, maybe not showing the most trust in him as you'd like in a young quarterback. And he had a pretty poor situation around him. Terrible offensive line, no run game, bad receiving core. A lot of this kind of all sets it up for a year 3 make or break season because now he's got a new head coach. They add Tyreek Hill, Cedric Wilson, Teron Armstead, Connor Williams, a whole new backfield. This team's going to have a run game. They have a much better offensive line. You've also got guys like Liam Eichenberg, Robert Hunt, some good young offensive linemen taking steps forward. So now, again, good offensive line, great receiving core. The situation is flipped for Tua. And now he enters year 3. This is truly a make or break season. The Dolphins are clearly in win now mode. They want to win ASAP. And if Tua doesn't get them over the hump this year, I think they're going to start pivoting towards other options. Now, whether that's trading their 2023 first from the Niners next year. I know they got stripped of their pick, but they still have San Francisco's from the Trey Lance deal. So they could make a potential trade for another quarterback, which they've already entertained, by the way, even before this season. And even if they do keep Tua for next year, I think he's going to be treated much more as a bridge quarterback than the future. Because right now I still think Miami's holding out hope that he could be their guy.
Yeah. I
mean, if you don't succeed and you have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill as your 2 wide receivers, there's something wrong there. And it's not them. It's you.
Yeah.
Why is Dak? Whoa. I'm confused. I'm confused by this. Why is – I don't have a problem saying Dak Prescott. I don't understand how Dak's under more pressure.
No, I don't think he's saying that he's under more pressure. He's just saying Dak Prescott is under pressure. And I agree. But first off, Tua, Aiden, you made it very simple. He's a third-year quarterback, has a good head coach now, or a new head coach, we'll say, has a good run game, and they got a star at wide receiver, and they have a much better offensive line. If they don't make the playoffs this year, he's gone. Simple as that. And that's coming from a huge Tua guy. I believe that, I believe in Tua. I believe in this offense. If they don't make the playoffs this year, he's gone. Guaranteed. Lock it in. No bridge quarterback. I don't care. He's gone. So going up to Dak Prescott, yes, Dak Prescott is under pressure. But it's weird because we already know it seems like Mike McCarthy's going to be the scapegoat. And that's the way it's going to go. If the Cowboys don't make the playoffs, I still believe Dak Prescott will be viewed as the quarterback because he will always put up numbers. That's the thing. He's put up numbers his entire career. The issue is they just don't succeed. And so, yes, Dak Prescott is under pressure, but I'll be honest, I don't think he's under a lot because if they don't make the playoffs this year and he puts up numbers, Mike McCarthy's gone, and they're saying, all right, Dak, let's run it back with the new head coach.
Yeah. Can I go next?
Ethan, what do you
I think this answer, there's one clear, obvious answer. And I think this quarterback has more pressure on him than Tua Tagovailoa. And I think it's Ryan Tannehill. Easily. Especially with the comments he made after Malik. First of all, just drafting Malik Willis puts that pressure on him. All right. Drafting a quarterback behind you. What he said about Malik Willis, saying that he's not going to help mentor him. He's on his own, all this. Plus his playoff performance last year against the Bengals, I think Ryan Tannehill definitely has the most pressure on him coming into the season. I think if the Titans, I think they're going to regress this season, but if they truly, really regress and don't make the playoff and they're below, 7 or 8 wins, I think we can easily see Ryan Tannehill be gone. I just don't think he's shown enough to this team that provides him to stay there. You know what I mean?
Ethan, I just love disagreeing with you, honestly. Like I love it.
How are you going to disagree with this?
Because all I'm saying is I don't think, you're right. He's going to be gone. I just don't think it's on him. I think it's on the team. The team sucks this year. The situation, what's his receivers? He's relying on Treylon Burks as a wide receiver 1. And if, let's say, Derrick Henry gets hurt, what else do they have? The offensive line sucks. Their front 7 is good, but the team as a whole
not that bad. He has the best running back in the NFL, potentially. He's or top 3 running back in the NFL. Ryan Tannehill, obviously, yes, AJ Brown's got it. They don't have that many receivers, but there was still the number 1 seed in the AFC last season. Let's not forget that.
I just don't think expectations are there, though. I think expectations.
We talked about this last week.
They are absolutely expected to be a playoff team. Absolutely. And Daniel, all of us, I don't think any of us believe the Titans are a playoff team this year, but that is the set precedent for them as a team. Even without AJ Brown, doesn't matter. They were the number 1 seed last year. Mike Vrabel's one of the best head coaches in the league. This team has found ways to win. I don't disagree with you. Again, I don't think they will be a playoff team, but the precedent is absolutely there.
Yeah, I just think that Tua, and there's another quarterback I'm going to say. I want to hear Tyler go first if he has any others. I just think Tannehill's done regardless if they don't make playoffs. That's why I literally put it out on tweet. I think there's a better chance, or I said it last week, a better chance we see Malik Willis than they make the playoffs. But
do you think Willis is the future in Tennessee?
I don't think any quarterback in this class was really elite enough to be the future. I think he'll be okay. I need to see it first.
How his development goes. Which, we don't know how that's going to go considering Tannehill won't help him out.
Yeah.
I have two very obvious ones. Daniel Jones and Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
2 NFC East quarterbacks. So Hurts last year, the thing is, I hear people say a lot of good things about Jalen Hurts. It could be just a Jersey thing, Philly bias, but I don't think he's a good quarterback. I think the Eagles would be a way better team with someone else under center. And Daniel Jones, obviously under a lot of pressure because, he's had his years. I think Daniel Jones...
training camp videos of Daniel Jones recently? It's been bad.
Yeah, it hasn't looked very good.
No.
Which stinks because, honestly, Daniel Jones is a guy that I've wanted to succeed since the Giants drafted him, which is funny saying considering I'm a Jets fan. I'm supposed to hate the Giants or whatever. But Daniel Jones is someone that's easy to root for. I just don't think it's been working out very well in New York for him, and I don't think this season's going to be any different as much as I want him to succeed. He's under a lot of pressure. Now, here's the one I really want to talk about, and Trey's not here this week to yell at me for it, so I'm going to get my words in. I think, honestly, he's not under the most pressure this season, but I think Russell Wilson's under a little bit of pressure moving teams with high expectations with the Broncos.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
I like Carson Wentz, too. I think Carson Wentz is under pressure, too. I mean, he's always under pressure at this point.
Carson Wentz is always under pressure. Carson Wentz, not a good quarterback.
The expectations are pretty – I get it. This is his third team in 3 years. I think that this is pretty much – might be his last shot to be a starter, so there's definitely some pressure there. But I wouldn't put him necessarily at the top of my list. I think we kind of know what's up with Wentz, and not too many people are expecting the Commanders to make the playoffs. But, Daniel, I want you to get in your picks.
Wait, Daniel, before you go, and I want to know what you think about Russell Wilson under pressure.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Denver team went out. They basically sold their soul to Russell Wilson to be their franchise guy. They're expected to make the playoffs. I don't care how good the AFC is. I have a funny feeling they will make it, and they'll be all right. But, yeah, I mean, Wilson, look, I think there's a bit of a sour taste in people's mouths as well, just based off how he played last year. The injury should absolutely be put into context, of course, and he looked a lot better towards the end of the year, but a little bit of pressure on Russ. I think his job security is just fine, and he'll be all right. But, yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's high expectations.
Yeah. I just, the one I have to kind of emphasize, Tyler, you already hit the nail on the head. Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is under so much pressure this year. People don't yes, he is. Yeah. Oh, come on.
He's
Ethan,
gone
come
if
on.
he doesn't perform.
Ethan, come on.
He's good. Jalen Hurts is good, guys.
No, he's not.
That's not the topic. That's
Regardless,
Ethan,
it doesn't matter.
That's not the topic. The topic, I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's good, but pressure is what is expected of you. This year, they just added a ton. They added AJ Brown. They added a ton to that defense. We saw they added the Georgia guys. This team, they made the playoffs last year. So if you make the playoffs, you make the playoffs last year. You add a number 1 wide receiver. You add a star wide receiver. That's a quarterback's dream. So yes, he is under a lot of pressure. If they don't make the playoffs, let alone even win a playoff game this year, he's gone. It's very similar to Tua, and I think it's even a step above because what do you mean you don't know about that? What do you mean?
They made the playoffs last year.
Just like that, really? You think
Hold on, Tyler, hold on. Wait, Ethan, what?
I just don't. I think the Eagles are a lot more invested in Jalen Hurts than we think they are, and I think that even if they didn't make the playoffs
Hold
this
up.
year, I think they keep him because I think
Gone out and
a
acquired
lot of
both
guys in that locker room love Jalen Hurts. I think
That doesn't
we
matter.
can love
It doesn't matter if they love him. If you're not winning, if they don't make the playoffs this year, what, Ethan? Let me ask you a question. What is their expectations heading into this year? I'm
No,
asking you
you're
this.
right. It is to make the playoffs. You're totally right. I
And
get
it's to
that.
do more than make the playoffs, because a team, if they just make the playoffs and lose, that is looked at as a bad season. Whether you think it is, whether any of us think it is, that is a bad season because you are staying stagnant. You're staying stagnant. If a football team is staying stagnant, you are losing. You are behind the 8 ball. If they make the playoffs and don't win a game, let alone even make the playoffs, if they don't make the playoffs, he's gone. They're on to somebody else. It doesn't matter how much the players love him. It doesn't matter how much of a
NFL's still a
fan
business.
favorite he is. The fans won't like him if he's not making the playoffs, especially
Especially
with the
Philly.
number one receiver, especially with the first round pick of Devontae Smith, especially with the offensive line, especially with Miles Sanders, especially with that defense. And in that division, we're talking the
division's
Giants,
awful.
the Commanders, the Cowboys. Come on. If they don't make the playoffs, he's gone. Guaranteed.
Yep.
Same thing as Tua.
All right.
And I don't
That's
understand.
to me, that's not even a bold prediction.
They don't. Hey, hold on. They don't have anything invested in Jalen Hurts. They didn't extend him to a contract, and they've completely set this up for a make or break season. Acquiring AJ Brown, they have multiple first round picks in the 2023 draft. We already know all the quarterback talent in that year's class. So if Jalen Hurts is bad this year and they fail to meet expectations, yeah, he could be as good as gone. There's no contractual commitment, and they have the draft capital to pivot off of them. But Tyler, I want to let you hop in here.
I mean, yeah, if I'm adding more on to Jalen Hurts, especially when you're a quarterback in Philadelphia, it doesn't matter how much they may love you now. The second you don't win games, that whole fan base, that whole locker room's going to turn on you.
Right.
That's just the way it goes. The NFL is still a business. Even if the locker room loves him, the owners don't care. The GM doesn't care. Their coach doesn't care. At the end of the day, if they made the playoffs last year, they play in the worst, by far the worst division in the league. If they don't make the playoffs next year, they're regressing. And Jalen Hurts, I didn't think he was that good last year. If he doesn't play up to par, if they don't win games this year, he's gone. It's honestly as simple as that. To me, that's not a bold prediction at all. That's just the way it is.
That's cool. Yeah, I get that. Now, let me just go on record saying that I do think the Eagles will win the division this year. I think Jalen Hurts will be maybe a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. I think they're going to be a good team. So I'll just leave it off that. Are we done with this subject? Because I do have one more player I just want to throw out there.
I was literally going to ask you. I'm curious. Is Kyler Murray?
No.
Okay.
That is a good one, though. Kyler Murray is under pressure this year. But I was going to say Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff with this Lions team with him.
I wouldn't say so. I think the Lions. Everybody and their mother knows that Jared Goff is not the future in Detroit. That he's just a bridge quarterback till they get their guy. So I don't think there's really any pressure because there's no expectations there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I don't think there's too much with Goff. All he's got to do is prove that he can find another bridge quarterback job somewhere else. I'd agree with that.
That's just going to be his calling card. He's going to be the modern day, whatever, Colt McCoy, whoever you want to call him.
Well, a little bit, something like that. But now we'll move on to we're going to get to
modern day Ryan Fitzpatrick.
A lot of people see the thumbnail and they see, is Patrick Mahomes a franchise-changing quarterback? We're going to get to that. We're going to get to our bold predictions. We've got a little bit of MLB coming up. Keep the comments coming. We'll be engaging with them all show long.
Let's answer that question. We didn't get to that. What do you guys think? Where could they go for a quarterback? Like, I think there's a lot of good quarterbacks late in the first round. I mean, next year's class is absolutely
only
staggering.
good QB right now is Bryce Young.
There's
you have Bryce
a lot.
Young, you have CJ Stroud, one of my personal favorites in Coastal Carolina QB. I think he's very underrated. Grayson McCall. Next year's class is absolutely stacked. You can go up and down the first round, and you can get a guy that could make a difference on your team. There's, I'd say, 5 to 6 guys next year that have the tools to be a very good quarterback in the NFL. So that draft's loaded. They'll be all right getting a QB next year, no matter where they finish.
One name for everybody to really pay attention. If you're a college football fan, you'll know who I'm talking about. Cameron Rising, Utah quarterback. Listen, I saw him play in high school. I saw him, last year. He stepped into a team where he barely he was new to the team. He stepped in right away, got leadership, took it by the reins, led them to the Pac-12 championship.
CJ could have been mid.
He's not going to be.
No,
listen,
right.
CJ Stroud. We won't get a lot off topic, but CJ Stroud is going to be very good, and we're going to see it this year too. Very good.
I'm a Penn State fan. As much as it pains me to admit that an Ohio State quarterback is good, CJ Stroud is I think CJ Stroud's better prospect coming out of Ohio State than Justin Fields was.
Ooh. Yeah.
Wow. He's a Michigan fan. There we go.
Yeah, there it is. But Aiden.
There's the bias coming out. But yeah, let's move on to our next topic. We can all throw out just one team, and obviously, again, if you're in the comments, throw out the team that you think is going to regress the most in 2022. Daniel, you can start us off with this one.
I mean, I got two. I won't go with the basic one. The Dallas Cowboys. And there's a stat that I love, or there's two stats that I love, and it's the repeat. There hasn't been a repeat winner in the NFC. Also, the Cowboys. Another stat. Since 1995, the Dallas Cowboys have not had back-to-back 10-plus or 11-plus win seasons. Since 1995, they haven't done that back-to-back. So that's just, to back everything up. They lost Amari Cooper. I didn't think they were that good last year. Offensive line's getting old. Zeke Elliott isn't as great. And I think the Commanders can split. I think the Eagles can split. And so that means, the Cowboys go, 4-2 in the division, 3-3. The rest of the schedule is a little bit tougher. I think they're a 9 to 10 win football team, and maybe they don't even make the playoffs. If they win 9 games, maybe they don't make the playoffs. So last year they won the division. They won't win it again this year.
Tyler, who are you thinking?
I have two teams for you. Obviously, I said that one of my bold predictions was that the Patriots are going to finish last in the AFC East. So obviously, I'm going to go with the Patriots. There's not a lot going on with that team this year. I mean, you look at the weapons around Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is a very good system quarterback. We debated this the other day. He's not someone that can elevate everyone around him. However, I don't think the Patriots can have a good year at all. And the Chiefs are my other pick.
Okay.
Which is going to be, a topic we're going to discuss. I think they're going to go 12 wins. I think they're going to go from 12 wins to around 9. You look at that division, it's a bloodbath.
Yeah.
I just with them playing those 3 teams twice, that's right. A lot. And I think it's going to take a toll.
Mm. Yeah, Ethan, what do you think?
I like both you guys' answers there. I think one team that we see regress this season is the Steelers. I think that their whole tenure, Mike Tomlin's whole tenure, they've never finished below 500. I like that, Marissa. I like the Packers. I wasn't going to go with the Packers. I didn't want to be that bold, that crazy. But the Steelers, with no roster this year, the defense is awesome, obviously. And I like the pieces they got, receiver and running back. But I just, for some reason, I'm feeling a down year for the Steelers. I don't know if Kenny Pickett or Trubisky's going to really lead this team right away. I see the Steelers probably finishing below 500 this year, possibly worse in that division. We'll see how the Browns do this year. But, I as far as a team who's consistently finished 800 or better, I think we finally see regression from the Steelers this year and finishing below 500.
So, Aiden, real quick, let me just respond to Tay, right? And this is for Malik, right? Malik would normally come in here, and this would be his rant. He would be going off, and regress. I think it's fair to say that it's fair if someone wants to say that they won't make the Super Bowl again. That's fair to say. That's fair to say. I still think that they can. I think that they might. If you think that they're not going to make the playoffs, just stop what you're doing. Actually, try to understand. And Aiden, I don't know if you disagree, or are you saying?
I have all offseason. We debated. You said the Ravens were going to win the.
No. You were just making the face. Wait, no.
I was just no.
No, you were just making the face. I didn't know if you were disagreeing.
Oh no, I was making the faces at just the offseason.
Right, it's very simple. Their quarterback has a full offseason. Never had a full offseason before. They have a 3-headed monster at wide receiver. They have a great run game, and they fix their biggest need, the offensive line. So if you think that they're not going to make the playoffs, stop what you're doing. Actually look and say, besides the Super Bowl hangover and besides, they're not going to be good because they always suck. If you can give another response, then maybe, but there is no other response. So this team is primed to make the playoffs once again.
First round exit.
First round. I mean, look, again, this Bengals team has somehow improved talent-wise. Like Daniel said, their only big hole last year was offensive line. They've improved on that. And I get this whole Super Bowl hangover thing, but when you're led and maybe some people get nauseated by this, but I'm a huge believer in Joe Burrow. And when you have a leader like that, that's a guy that can keep you on script and avoid the such Super Bowl hangover.
Don't bet against Joe Burrow in the playoffs, Tay. That's all I'm going to say. Do not bet against Joe Burrow in the playoffs, especially in round one. Don't bet against him. I promise you, it won't go good for you.
No, I agree. The team that I'll throw out there real quick, the Tennessee Titans, we already talked about them last week, but first seed in the AFC East, nearly make the AFC Championship game. They lose A.J. Brown. They competed in a lot of close games, probably won more games than they should have last year. Ryan Tannehill got worse when Derrick Henry was, hampered by injury or off the field. And I just think Derrick Henry, look, it's fine to run your offense through a running back, but it's risky business when the guy's 28 years old, just suffered his first big injury. This Titans team, even defensively, I like them.
They suck.
They suck. Fired, but no, they don't suck defensively. They're fine.
Their team sucks. Their team sucks.
Sure.
Yes.
Again, I do think maybe, people saying they're only going to win 6 games this year. They're still in the worst division in the AFC. They're still led by one of the best head coaches in the league. And there's still some talent to be had here with Kevin Byard, some good pass rushers. Derrick Henry still, when healthy, is a maniac. But, the Titans, they're an easy candidate for regression. But let's talk a little baseball. All right, we're starting to get a little baseball in the mix here. MLB going crazy, going wild. And the question we have posed today is about the San Diego Padres, who a lot of people are saying won the MLB trade deadline hands down. So with all these acquisitions they made at the deadline, do we think they're serious World Series contenders now? Ethan, what do you think?
Oh, man, I really, really want to say they are, but it's just so hard. I mean, they're obviously going to be in the playoffs. They're going to probably make a good playoff run. But it's just so hard when you got the Mets and you got the Dodgers and you got, these such good teams in the National League right now. I mean, obviously the lineup is stacked. They can freaking hit the ball out of the park any day. They're slam Diego. But the pitching is what scares me. The bullpen scares me. Yes, Musgrove's good. Yu Darvish is good. What else am I looking at besides them? You look at the teams like the Dodgers and the Mets who have way better pitching staffs, bullpens, and probably just as good at lineups as the Padres do. So I think you can call the Padres World Series contenders because they have such a stacked lineup, but it's just so hard with the other teams in the National League right now competing. I think it's going to be tough for them, but there's a chance. There's a chance they can contend in this World Series. Especially,
Tyler?
Yeah, and let me just say one more thing with Tatis. If Tatis is going to be healthy and everything like that, that's another huge step for them. But with no Tatis right now, also that's just another reason why I can't see it really.
Yeah, go ahead, Tyler.
World Series contenders? Yeah, 100%. I think that right now the NL World Series contenders are the Padres, the Mets, and the Dodgers. They had a rough showing last week against the Dodgers, swept in 3 games, outscored 20-4. This team's just coming together, though. I mean, when you have a lineup that's featuring Manny Machado, who's been, again, one of the best third basemen in the league this year, along with Nolan Arenado and Austin Riley of the Braves. Tatis is coming back within the next few weeks they're hopeful of. He's one of the best players in baseball. Jake Cronenworth, he has a little bit of a regress to the means this year. He was an all-star last year. He's batting .236 right now, but he's got a .339 OBP. That means, I'm going to do my best Moneyball impression, he gets on base.
Right.
They got Josh Bell with Juan Soto. I'm really excited for Soto to be in this lineup. Soto's shown that he's a generational hitter by all means. That Nationals lineup's been depleted all year, so when pitching staffs are going into it, they've been able to pitch to just him and not have to pitch around him. Now, when you have a lineup that's featuring Brandon Drury at DH, you have Machado, Tatis, Jurickson Profar has been a pleasant surprise in my worth. Jake Cronenworth, Juan Soto, that's 6 guys that you really have to worry about in this lineup. Jorge Alfaro hasn't been bad as their catcher either. And hitting-wise, absolutely. I think this is a team that can compete with the very best. I'll tack on to what Ethan said. Their pitching this year hasn't been the best. They went out and they got Josh Hader, which in my mind was
Yeah,
a
that's
very
true.
good proposal,
That's true.
or very good team. Hater's got a 4.11 ERA right now, but it was a 1.82 until July 13th and July 15th happened. He kind of imploded those 2 days. Hater, if we're being honest, still one of the best closers in baseball.
Oh,
you look
yeah.
at their starting lineup, you have a lot of names. You have Blake Snell, you have Joe Musgrove, you have Yu Darvish, you have Mike Clevenger, you have Sean Manaea. Manaea and Clevenger had very good, very successful campaigns with the Guardians and the A's, respectively, as number twos. Now they're 4s and 5s. They haven't been great this year. Blake Snell, who's supposed to be one of the aces of that rotation, hasn't been very good. And outside of Hater, their bullpen's shaky. So in my mind, you got a lot of talent at pitching here. It's just a question of when you get to October, is that talent, that big name talent, going to step up? Because they haven't so far this regular season. But World Series contenders, yes. Do I think they're going to win it? No.
All right, Daniel, what do you think?
I don't care, man. I don't care. Like, if we're being honest, like Ethan, you said there's a chance. Yeah, there's a chance that they make the World Series. There's a chance that they win it. Are they better than the Dodgers? No. Have the Dodgers choked in the past? Yes. Are they better than the Mets? No, they're not. I'm sorry, they're not. Yes, you can name all these names in the starting, rotation, but they're names at some point. You look at the Mets; they just got back Jacob deGrom. What are we talking about? Max Scherzer's still there. They got Walker. They look at their starting lineup. That they're fielding. So there's a chance, they are going to get better. They have sucked ever since they got Juan Soto, but there's
Small
a chance.
sample.
I just
Small
think
sample
that
size.
I just think that they're going to face a team like the Mets. If they go through the Mets and the Dodgers in the playoffs, they will lose to one of them. So I don't think that they make it. There's a chance, 5% chance, sure, that they win it.
If they have to go to the Dodgers, there's zero chance they're making.
They've been awful against the Dodgers this year. I don't think they beat the Mets. That's what I was saying though. Like they're a contender, sure, because when you look at the lineup, it's great. But what wins you games in October is pitching, which is why I'm very concerned about my Yankees right now. You look at the other rotations they're going to face, especially when you have to face Scherzer, who's looked like the best pitcher in the game since he's been back from injury, and you have DeGrom. Like, you're not getting past those two teams with what these starting pitchers have been putting out there. Like you said, Daniel, it's names. They haven't been backing it up. It's, the talent's there. It's going to depend if they put it together as we get into September and October here.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to say yes. They are contenders. They just had a historic trade deadline. Even before this, they were already in the playoff hunt, so this could really take them to that next level. Not saying they will win it, but if you're in the postseason, you have this much talent on your roster. Let's say the pitching does start to come back around because we have seen the talent with these guys before, and you pair that with the bats that this team has in there to run out a World Series. So, again, we've seen crazy things in the MLB postseason before. You get hot for a stretch, just a month. I remember even when I played baseball, in a tournament or something, your team just has a really good weekend, and you go. I'm being serious.
No, he's being serious.
We had a couple.
Trust me, I have the best.
I'm just envisioning you playing baseball.
Back in my day,
Daniel, my little league team went 0 for the season, but everyone made the playoffs, and then we wound up winning the championship when you get hot at the right time, man.
I feel like Ethan would be a monster. He's definitely a shortstop.
I was a first baseman and a pitcher, Daniel.
I could see you as a pitcher. I could see you as a pitcher.
I was a center fielder.
I could throw heat.
You can definitely throw heat. Probably get a little wild with some of your pitches, though.
Ethan. Fuck.
Ethan, grow out the hair, and we got Wild Thing right here.
Oh, Noah Syndergaard right there.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Noah Syndergaard just got shelled.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true. But let's move on. Before, I know everybody's here to talk about Patrick Mahomes. I already see the Chiefs comments rolling into the comment section. We're gonna get to that in a few minutes, I promise. But first, we want to bring back our bold prediction segment. And basically, we just go round table, one bold prediction in any sport, whatever you want to say. So who wants to start it off today? Tyler, this is the first bold prediction segment you've had the pleasure of doing on the Game Changer show. So we'll let you start off first.
Any sport. I have my two football ones sitting right in front of me. I mentioned before, I think the Patriots are going to finish last in the AFC East this year. I think that the weapons around Mac Jones aren't enough to get it done. I think they're going to regress a little bit. The Dolphins got better. The Jets got better. The Bills, we'll get to the Bills in a second with my second bold prediction. The way I see it, Pats are going last in the division. Another bold prediction I have is my mock Super Bowl, who I think the two teams that are match up this year.
They're not the Jets.
I'm not going to say the Jets. Are you kidding me? That would be a flaming hot take right there. I think it's going to be the Raiders and the Bills this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait.
Raiders?
Prediction. Raiders and Bills.
That's saying AFC, same conference.
AFC.
Oh.
Yep. There it goes.
There it goes. Yeah. That's right. I mean, the Raiders already
Let me
the playoff.
here. Let me jump in here and I'll save Tyler from that. Listen, I've got to. I love you, Tyler, man. But
dude,
I
was like spitballing before because I wanted to put Derek Carr as my MVP for my bold prediction because I've been all over Derek Carr hype.
You should have just said, listen, hey, Tyler, I'm gonna say your bold take for you. Derek Carr will be a top 3 MVP candidate. Boom, there's your bold take right there. Like. It gives you the leeway of, if he doesn't win it and he gets 1 vote, you still quote unquote.
Yeah, but that's not bold enough. This is bold predictions.
He's not winning.
Derek Carr top 3, and that's good. That's.
I think that's very. I think
Derek Carr might win. I think he has the potential to win it. So I'm gonna go. We want to get bolds. Derek Carr MVP.
All right.
I'll close that out for my NFL. If we want to circle around to other sports, we can come back.
So mine, I don't know if this is really, really bold, but the Chargers will have the best defense in the NFL. I think that all the talent there's a lot of talented defenses, the Saints, the Bills, that. I think the Chargers, this is the year that they put it all together on the defense end. I trust their offense, but their schedule's rough. I just think that defense will be the number 1 in turnovers. I mean, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, you added a couple pieces at linebacker, but really that cornerback room. Asante Samuel Jr., if he is your second best corner, you got him, J.C. Jackson, and Derwin James in the safety. So I'm rolling with them as the number 1 defense in the league this year. Number 1 in turnovers as well.
They will be in the shootout division, So a lot of interceptions could
be a difference maker.
Ethan, go ahead.
All right, let me give you guys a bold.
Oh, here we go.
Oh boy.
Here we go.
Suns.
And this is NFL. This is NFL. Okay, this is NBA.
Please, no Suns, please.
No Suns on this episode. Yeah, this is bold, guys. This is bold right here. The Chicago Bears will make the playoffs. Bold prediction.
You did not just say that.
Now, Justin Fields.
I'm gonna give you one chance for all the audience, for us listening here. Explain to me in 1 minute.
This is called bold prediction.
In 1 minute, why will the Bears make the playoffs? You have 1 minute. Go.
Okay, this might be one of the, as far as how soft the NFC is. This year, it's a pretty soft conference. NFC this year, we can all agree on that. Justin Fields, I think, is still the real deal. I think we haven't seen enough of him. I think he was horrible in Matt Nagy's offense. I think Matt Nagy wasn't good enough or a good support cast for him. I think with the rookie head coach and Eberflus, however you say it, Matt Eberflus, I think a lot of people are just kind of writing it off. They don't know the guy. They don't know. We never know. We never know what can happen with the rookie head coach pairing up with a good young quarterback in Justin Fields, who was one of the top Ohio State quarterbacks ever. Honestly, I mean, the kid's got talent. I think this team has pieces, and I think it's not that crazy. Okay, it is crazy. I'll say that. It's a bold prediction, but I don't see it really with the Lions. I don't see it with the Vikings. I know you like the Vikings, Daniel. And I think the Packers. I think we can easily see maybe they sneak into that 7th seed.
So all I'm going to say,
Ethan,
all
I'm going to say is I think that's a hotter take than me saying 2 AFC teams are going to meet in the Super Bowl this year.
You might be right.
So, Ethan, all I'm going to say, man, is one, Matt Eberflus is a defensive-minded head coach. I don't know if that's going to work with Justin Fields.
They're all right defense.
And two, they lost a lot on the defense and their offense. There is no talent there. None. Darnell Mooney is nice, but offensive line,
Byron Pringle.
Okay.
Stop it. Aiden.
Yeah.
Cole Kmet.
They're the worst team in their division. They're going to be probably picking top 5, top 6 in next year's draft. I think honestly, Ethan, you have more confidence in the Bears making the playoffs than their front office does themselves. Now, I mean, none of the moves they made this offseason tells me they are looking to contend whatsoever this year.
Yeah.
They added nothing around Justin Fields. They traded Khalil Mack. They brought in hardly any veterans. Just nothing to me. I don't know. I'd be surprised
I
if they
have
win.
trust in Justin Fields, and I you never know what can happen with the rookie quarterback.
Like
That's all,
Fields
or with the rookie head coach. That's all I'm going to say.
I like Justin Fields too, but no. But now my bold prediction. I want to go with the NBA just to sprinkle in a little bit. I love Cleveland's young core, and I think that in a couple years we're going to be talking about them as one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. Evan Mobley has the potential to be the best big man in the league, a true unicorn at the position. I think Darius Garland's going to take the leap up to a top 25 player in the NBA this year, and obviously he's very young. Those two together as a tandem is a very promising young nucleus. And this team has made some nice additions around those players. I kind of trust their front office more and more as the years go on and some of the smart decisions they have been making. So, maybe that's not the bold. I think, again, Ethan takes the cake for boldest take. Even bolder than Tyler, again, picking two AFC teams to go to the Super Bowl.
If we're going to finish.
Watch out for Cleveland.
Watch out for Cleveland. I like that. I don't think that's that bold. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I really don't think that's that bold.
A lot of people, no, because here's the thing. A lot of people, ever since LeBron's left, they just see the Cleveland Cavaliers and there's just this negative stigma. There's just negative stigma around them. And the Cavs were fine last year. Nobody is expecting too much from this team. People are sleeping on Evan Mobley. They're sleeping on Darius Garland. They're not high on Cleveland. Now they're not high on the future, but I'm telling you, watch out. They're going to be regarded as one of the better teams in the East very soon.
If we want to talk about NBA, I think that after the news that came out today that Kevin Durant is going to be a net this year, and we're kicking GM coach duo to the curb.
I like that. I mean Kevin Durant's
when you look at it, KD's a top 5 player in the league. There's no future. The Nets kind of invested their whole future in KD and Kyrie working out. And at this point, they have nothing that's going to make them transition into a rebuild without tearing everything down, which I don't see them doing. So I think we've seen our last of Sean Marks and Nash behind the bench and in the GM chair.
Yeah,
I like it. So now let's talk about these Kansas City Chiefs. Let's talk about Patrick Mahomes, okay? The question at hand is Mahomes a franchise-changing quarterback? I'm talking top-tier, front of the line. Daniel, you put all three of us on notice earlier on Twitter, and you said, if any of you disagree, the backpack's coming out. We're packing you up. So I'm letting you kick this thing off. Put us on notice. Go for it.
I mean, for everybody listening out there and you guys, I'm very curious to hear the other side of this. But what I will say is franchise changing. What does that mean? What is the definition? That means takes your franchise from where it was and takes it to a whole nother level. And that's what he did. With Alex Smith, Andy Reid has been the head coach since 2013. He's had Alex Smith, and I think they had a 77% win percentage in the regular season, or 66. With Patrick Mahomes, they have 77. With Andy Reid, before Patrick Mahomes' time, he went 1-4 in the playoffs. 1-4 in the playoffs, and he had Travis Kelce, and he had Tyreek Hill still. As soon as Mahomes steps in there, they go 8-3 in the playoffs. So I find it very hard for somebody to look at it and say, okay, they were 1-4 in the playoffs without Patrick Mahomes. They, won 66% of the games in the regular season, and as soon as he gets there, they go 8-3 in the playoffs, make 2 Super Bowls, win a Super Bowl, one that they didn't make without Patrick Mahomes. And I look at it and say they had the same system, they had the same head coach, had the same number 1 wide receiver, had the same tight end before, and now after they got Patrick Mahomes, they made the Super Bowl. So yes, he was franchise changing. And a lot of people can say, well, he's not a top tier quarterback. Well, if he was on another team as a rookie, we're not there. We can't go back in time. Where he is now, what he did to this franchise, he changed his franchise and he took them to the top. So, yeah.
What do you think, Daniel? Just to throw it out there and just to ask you, because Alex Smith was a good quarterback. He was very good. But do you think that, let's say, even if it wasn't somebody as good as Patrick Mahomes, let's say they had I don't know. I'll throw out I don't know. I'm trying to figure out I wanted to say a Dak Prescott caliber quarterback, maybe somebody a little better than that. Not somebody as good as Patrick Mahomes. It's still borderline elite. Do you think this team could have won a Super Bowl back then with this, frankly put, elite supporting cast that Patrick Mahomes has had?
No.
Patrick
Mahomes took them to another level. Alex Smith was a very good quarterback for the Chiefs. He took them to a whole other level. Hill was already good. Kelsey was already good. He was able to, Andy Reid, it was a match made in heaven. He'd have to find a quarterback just like Patrick Mahomes. It'd have to be like a Josh Allen, like a Justin Herbert type. And that's a superstar. So it's very, I don't think another average quarterback, another good, even borderline top 10, Dak Prescott, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, even, any borderline top 10, no. Patrick Mahomes took this team to a whole nother level. All I look at, 1-4 in the playoffs, and as one of the comments, 1-10 in the playoffs before, 8-3 now. And that a lot is Patrick Mahomes. If you look at the Texans game, they don't win that game if they don't have the type of player like Patrick Mahomes is. So, yes, he is a franchise-changing quarterback.
I will say, Patrick Mahomes is a tier 1 quarterback. I think the Chiefs could have made some noise and potentially won a Super Bowl with the tier 2 guy. So not a Kirk Cousins, not a Derek Carr, but somebody that's right below that superstar level.
Like a Justin Herbert.
Think about the supporting cast he did have here. Andy Reid, one of the best head coaches in the NFL, perhaps the best offensive mind in the league, some would argue. You have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is the best receiving tight end in the league. I mean, Tyreek Hill is a total game changer. He was the X factor to that offense. They had their offensive line was iffy, whatever. But just between the head coach and that receiving core, I think a very elite tier 2 quarterback could have made a lot of noise. And again, that tier 2 guy would have Alex Smith, even though Smith was very good.
So is Patrick Mahomes a franchise-changing quarterback in your eyes?
Yes. I was trying to play a little bit of advocate here, and not even just to advocate some of your points and say that I can't put up an argument against Patrick Mahomes. Franchise-changing guy. I mean, we can talk about some of his flaws and how, 2 years ago he threw the most interceptable passes in the league. I still think the decision-making is spotty, and Malik has mentioned it. I don't disagree. Not one bit. But the things that this man can do on the football field are second to none. Very few, like Daniel, that you said, can go up toe-to-toe with Deshaun Watson, led Houston Texans team. I know there's a bad rap against the Texans right now, but when they had Deshaun Watson, they were able to put up quite a few points because Watson's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And Mahomes led them back just like that in the blink of an eye. Some of the things, again, just being able to navigate the pocket, make some insane throws on the move. Most plays where quarterbacks would get sacked, Mahomes can avoid the sack and create that into a 60-yard touchdown. It's just as simple as that. It's crazy the things that he can do on a football field. I absolutely believe he's franchise-changing. Daniel, you brought up the numbers of the before and after in the playoffs. I absolutely believe he brought them to the next level. I know I put him at number 4 in my quarterback rankings, but he was still firmly in that first tier. So I don't have a problem with putting top 3, even top 2. Like he's insane. But Tyler, I want to hear what you have to say about this.
Franchise-changing. 100%. I agree with you, Aiden. I think if they had a high-end tier 2 guy, that they could win a Super Bowl, but I don't think they would be anywhere near as dominant as they are if it wasn't a Patrick Mahomes under center. Outside of Patrick Mahomes, the only players that I really see that could do this right now, Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers, that would be as dominant with this team. Outside of that, I just don't see it personally.
You don't think team either?
What?
You don't think Tom Brady could pull this off with this team?
Oh, well, Tom Brady's Tom Brady.
Well, you did say only 2 other quarterbacks.
True. I'm still trying to get into the fact that Brady pulled a fast one on us with the whole retirement. Now he's back thing. Obviously Tom Brady. But the way I see it, you can't do this with anyone else. I think Mahomes was one of the best raw prospects we've ever seen from the arm standpoint, some of the stuff he could do on the field. I think that the time he spent under Andy Reid and learning under learning under Alex Smith was great. In my mind, like, I don't think he'd be as good as he is now if he didn't have the mentoring that he did to put everything fully together. But franchise changing 100%. You talk about it. You look at the statistics that Daniel put up. Obviously, like, that it takes a certain guy to do that. No one else could do that with this team, even with Andy Reid as the head coach. Patrick Mahomes, like Malik says, the decision making spotty sometimes. Like, I put him behind Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers in my quarterback ranking because of that. But franchise changing quarterback, yeah, absolutely.
Let's hear this.
Oh
This
no!
Oh,
no!
Oh no!
Please, I want to hear this. I want to hear this.
Oh my goodness.
Ethan, go ahead. I'm listening. Ethan, go ahead.
How is this even a topic we're debating on this show, you guys? How? I don't get it. Let me tell you this one thing, all right? If you put Patrick Mahomes on any team in the NFL, it doesn't matter the situation. It doesn't matter who's on that team. You put him on any team, the Jaguars, the Bears. It doesn't matter what team he's on. He's changing that franchise, and he's taking that franchise to the playoffs. I firmly, truly believe that's how good Patrick Mahomes is. I think it's ridiculous. I think he has already. I think since the minute he got drafted by the Chiefs, he changed that franchise. I think you look at the accolades he already has in the 5 years he's played in the NFL: Super Bowl MVP. Probably like 2-time first team All Pro, second team All Pros, but like 4 Pro Bowls. I mean, he has all the accolades. And I truly believe, and if anyone disagrees with me, please. But if you put him on any team in the NFL, any team.
One aspect. The Houston Texans, the last time we saw Deshaun Watson play a full season, they won, 4 games? So I believe Patrick Mahomes is better.
Deshaun Watson's nowhere close to Mahomes. Nowhere close.
Are you kidding?
No, we don't want to get to that.
Nowhere close.
No, stop, Ethan. Let's stay on the topic because you're wrong there. Let's stay on the topic because you are so wrong there.
You make Mahomes sound like the GOAT.
My point, because Ethan says Mahomes can go to any team. I think as a prospect, Mahomes absolutely landed in the right spot, but now he has developed into a better quarterback, so he can go into some worse situations and still have success. But you look at a team like Houston, how is the difference between Mahomes and Watson going from 4-12 to a playoff team? I don't see that.
You're saying he can do something that even in my mind Tom Brady couldn't do.
When you said a second-tier quarterback, you put a second-tier quarterback on the Chiefs and they can win a Super Bowl. I think absolutely not. I think that the only reason they're winning these Super Bowls is because of Mahomes.
You think you couldn't put Justin Herbert on that team and they wouldn't win a Super Bowl?
No, they wouldn't win the Super Bowl that year.
Coach?
Firmly believe that. Nope.
Head coach.
He makes the players and him better.
They could contend with the second tier, an elite guy, maybe not a tier 1 guy, but an elite quarterback. You put them with an elite core, the best head coach, or the best offensive mind in the league, and Andy Reid. Absolutely, they can contend for a title.
Were we saying that Andy Reid and this Chiefs offense was the best before Mahomes got there?
They had a damn good supporting cast. It was deemed the ideal landing spot for Patrick Mahomes in his development.
He couldn't have went anywhere better.
Yes, but yes, he was catered with an amazing supporting cast. Absolutely.
Malik, I'm curious.
Absolutely.
Malik, tell us why
just for
Mahomes is a franchise-changing quarterback.
Ethan, when you speak sometimes, man, you make me question life sometimes. You also make me, I had to come in here and save this conversation because clearly we're all bobbleheads agreeing with one another today. But let me just continue. When you spoke on Patrick Mahomes, it actually showed your lack of knowledge to me. It shows your lack of football knowledge.
Are you talking to me right now?
Yeah. I'm talking directly to you right now. It showed your lack of no, seriously. It showed your lack of football knowledge, and it showed me that you probably weren't familiar with Patrick Mahomes as he was coming out of Texas Tech. Because Patrick Mahomes coming out of Texas Tech, the reason why he fell to where he fell to was because people had issues with his turnovers and his decision making. You guys sit up here and I'm not going to say all of you, because Aiden, I think you did a good job showing respect to Alex Smith, but you guys sit up here and you disrespect Alex Smith. Smith.
I said
very good.
You had your chance, Daniel. You had your chance. Please, I'm talking. Alex Smith is widely considered. I truly believe Alex Smith is probably one of the best mentors a young quarterback can learn from.
That's what I said.
Let me finish, guys. You guys are comparing Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes without realizing they have two totally different skill sets. But if we're talking about football IQ, Alex Smith beats Patrick Mahomes any day of the week in terms of football IQ. He does.
Yeah.
Even now.
100%.
Yep.
He just can't make the same plays in terms of the athleticism as a Patrick Mahomes. He can't extend a play as a Patrick Mahomes. One knock on Alex Smith throughout his career was his deep ball. Well, what is one of the best things Patrick Mahomes is known for? His deep ball. Patrick Mahomes can drop back 15 yards and make plays and still find his open receiver. Here's what I will say. I'm not going to sit up here and just disrespect Patrick Mahomes. I know I had before in the past in terms of I talked about his football IQ and his lack of his interesting decision making, whether it be throwing no-look passes for absolutely no reason and throwing it into the arms of a defender or throwing it up, leaving the ball up 20 yards up down the field and having a safety pretty much catch it like it's a punt. Those are the things people don't talk about. All the thing people want to talk about is the final number. And I think that's a problem with today in sports and sort of how we view quarterbacks as well. We always talk about the end result, but when we get down to the intricacies of the game, a lot of people don't want to go into it. I'll say this about Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes is a phenomenal talent. I think a lot of questions about Patrick Mahomes are going to get answered this year. I think he's been coddled. I think he's been in an offense that fits him, that is perfect for him. I don't think that his processing is up there with some of the other quarterbacks. To your point, Ethan, I'm not going to talk about this individual, but you made a mention that the gap between Watson and Mahomes is so large, and that's false. I think if you put Watson in the Chiefs system with a offensive mastermind like Andy Reid, I think they have a lot of success. Probably they might wind up winning another Super Bowl out of it, to be completely honest with you. I think Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal. But here's what I will say. I think with the loss of Tyreek Hill, and for the first time, Patrick Mahomes working with other receivers that are not named Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, I'm very curious to see how that dynamic works out. I'm very curious to see how him throwing to a Juju Smith-Schuster, who is a much more of a possession guy, right? And some of these other guys, I'm very curious to see how this is going to work out. So I think that there are still some questions out there that need to be answered. I'm not like the mass. When I watch Patrick Mahomes, I don't get enamored with him. I don't see him as invisible. I don't see him as the second coming of Jesus Christ. I don't see him as the young goat. I don't see that when I see him, to be completely honest with you. I see a phenomenal quarterback that is very, very talented. I think Josh Allen is smarter than Patrick Mahomes in terms of on the football field, but I think that they both rely on their athleticism and their arm way too much. Again, though, questions will get answered this year. I just had to come in here and say that because, like I said, it was just the way you guys were speaking about Patrick Mahomes was, understand, we're talking about him right now, right? And the reason why I had to come in here is Ethan's talking about him as if like he was some polished quarterback coming in, not realizing the development that a guy like Alex Smith actually did for his career. So if you ask me, we got a lot more to work out with Patrick Mahomes when it's all said and done, but I digress.
But he didn't even answer the question. he didn't get.
He's running.
Can I just say one thing real quick? With
Sure.
everything I just said about Patrick Mahomes, I still think that he's not I still think there's one quarterback who's better than him in the NFL.
Who's that?
And we don't have to discuss that right now, but I'm just saying that. So I think there's someone better than
Who?
Patrick.
Yeah, I think we all agree he's not the best quarterback.
I agree, but like I want to hear who you think's better than him.
I think Joe Burrow is better than Patrick Mahomes easily.
So do you think is Aaron Rodgers better than Patrick Mahomes?
See, then you get into
Are we talking exactly right now? Aaron Rodgers right now and Patrick Mahomes right now?
Right now.
We're talking Rodgers in his prime.
right
I
now.
would rather have Patrick Mahomes on my team right now than Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, well that's
What?
on your team. Well, that's like a future. I'm talking
So
like right now.
Yeah, I would say yeah.
For next year.
That's tough. That's tough. That's really tough right there, Rodgers and Mahomes. I think they're like right there.
But you said he's just that quarterback, so he is
I think
better
Josh
than
Allen and Aaron Rodgers. are
Allen,
better.
Mahomes, Burrow, Rodgers,
I wouldn't
Brady.
say Allen, but I think it's Rodgers, Mahomes, Burrow.
You wouldn't say Josh Allen?
I think Allen's probably 4 or 5.
I think
Well, I'd probably
Allen's
say
right
5.
there.
I think
Brady
he's 2
4,
behind
Allen
Aaron
5.
Rodgers.
I'm not big on Allen. Sorry.
How
Maybe
are
that's
you
not
not
my take.
big on Josh Allen?
Josh
After
Allen.
we-
He's good. No, don't get
Josh
me wrong.
Allen's one of
He's
those
great.
quarterbacks
Josh
where,
Allen's
like Mike
great.
was saying, you watch him and you become enamored with him. I don't get that with Patrick Mahomes. I love watching Josh Allen play.
Josh Allen is a top 5 quarterback.
Oh yeah,
Josh
for
Allen
sure.
is a
Okay,
top 3
perfect.
quarterback.
I agree. I'm just saying
Well,
top
He's
he's
my
five.
number 2.
but-
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's it. Again, great show today, guys. And hopefully next week we'll be with Malik again. Trey will be back soon, and just have a ton of fun as we do every Monday night. Again, we will be back next Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Throughout the show, throughout the week, we'll have plenty more shows, starting off with the TWSN show tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're not subscribed already, make sure you go do so. But that's going to do it for me. That's going to do it for Daniel. It's going to do it for Tyler and Ethan. We'll see you guys next Monday.
See you guys.
Welcome everyone to the TWSN Betting Patreon. If you like making a little money and want an entire team do the research for you daily, come join us here. We have 5 different packages: rookie, starter, veteran, Hall of Fame, and GOAT, with each one increasing in different types of betting analysis for you. Just know if you subscribe to any one of these tiers on the TWSN Betting Patreon, you're getting a team that is putting hours and hours daily into the best bets, into the futures bets, into any question that you have. So there's only one thing left to do. Join the TWSN Betting Patreon